Hello.
Coach, good afternoon. Thanks for being with us. For questions for Coach Saban, if you could press 1-0. And, Coach, while that's being done, would you mind commenting on your team throughout the regular season and as you prepare to face Georgia in Atlanta for the SEC Championship on Saturday?
Well, this is a tremendous opportunity for our team. They sort of created that for themselves by, making a tremendous amount of improvement, throughout the season. I'm very proud of, the transformation of our team from the beginning to the end, and the hard work and preparation that, our players have been focused on all year long. So, Georgia obviously is, to me, the best team in the country. They got a great offensive team. They run the ball, a great passing game. Quarterback's really, really good. They got great running backs. Their defense is one of the best defenses in the country and probably the best defense in the SEC. So there's a lot of challenges relative to playing a great football team, but the SEC, championship game is one of the best competitive venues I've ever been involved in, and I'm sure our team is excited about having the opportunity they created for themselves to play, one of the best teams in the country.
For questions, press 1-0. We'll begin with Charlie Potter of Bama Online.
Yeah, hey, Coach. It looked like Jace McClellan was on crutches after the game on Saturday. Do you have an update on where things stand with him?
Well, he's, had a little foot injury all year long. He tweaked it in the game. So, he'll be day-to-day this week, but I can't tell you how much progress it'll make. Probably the next, 48 hours will tell us whether he'll, make the kind of progress he needs to be able to practice some and play in a game.
Next will be Mike Rodak of 24/7 Sports.
Just how have you seen this Georgia team change and evolve from the last time you played them 2 years ago?
Well, I haven't had a whole bunch of time to study them on both sides of the ball. I've seen them throughout the course of the year. I think their defense is, a lot like it's been in the past. They've got really good players. They've got a really good system, and they do a good job of executing. And they get good tackling, good secondary people. Offensively, they're running the ball very effectively. A lot of squeeze formations, and have a great play action passing game. Off of that to go with the running game, and obviously with the quarterback and receivers they have an excellent passing game as well. So I don't see tremendous difference, but they certainly do a great job of utilizing the players that they have.
Next, we'll go to John Senior of the Associated Press.
Yeah, Coach, we've talked a lot about how the progress of Jalen Milroe, but I'm wondering, he could have gone maybe a different way and taken the Texas game and then not playing against South Florida in a negative way and had a negative impact on him. He obviously went the opposite direction. How did he handle that, and how key was that in kind of winning over the coaching staff and teammates?
Well, I think his transformation at the quarterback position has helped us, transform our entire offensive team. I think the confidence that he's playing with, the confidence that our players have in him, I think we've done a pretty good job of trying to utilize the skill set that he has. And he's, learned that the most important thing in his position is distribute the ball. And, he's done a really, really good job of that, and I think that's really enhanced, the transformation of our offensive team to be much more effective and productive.
Next is David Pascal, the Chattanooga Times Free Press.
Hey, Nick, you've been obviously associated with this game since LSU knocked off Tennessee in 2001. That was early in the BCS. I was curious, do you feel that Has this game evolved in any way, or it's gone through the BCS, the 4-team, and do you think it would have the same magnitude next year once it gets into a 12-team playoff? Will winning the SEC as important next year as it is this year? This is obviously a huge one.
Well, I think winning the SEC is always a big thing. Ever since I've been, in this league, when you played in this game, when maybe the playoffs weren't the significant outcome that it is right now, it was still something special to be able to win the SEC. I mean, that's a great league. There's a lot of good teams. For your team to get in a position to play another great team in this game, and most of the games that we've been involved in involves great teams. So that means a lot to me. I think it means a lot to our players. And I think it'll mean a lot in the future, as well. And I don't think that whether there's 4 teams in the playoffs or 12 teams in the playoffs, I mean, this game has, some significance in terms of what might happen in the playoffs, but that's not necessarily true all the time. But there is a significance to playing in the SEC championship game.
Also wanted to ask about 2 years ago. You had a game at Auburn where you struggled for a lot of it before pulling it out and winning in 4 overtimes. Then you turned around the next week and played really well against Georgia. Are there lessons you can take from that week-to-week deal that you can use this week? Or I know you got some players that were in the program and a bunch of new ones.
Well, we didn't sort of channel all the passion and the great execution, in this last game. And I think that was very similar to the game you're referring to a couple years ago. So to get our players to sort of have good perspective on building on the things they did well and improving the things that we didn't do well, so that we can channel our passion into positive execution on a more consistent basis. I think was the focus a couple of years ago, and certainly going to be the focus in this game.
Thank you.
Next, we have Joe Menzer of the ESPN and the SEC Network.
Hey, Coach. When you first hired Kirby back in the day, did you have a sense that he would be a successful Division I head coach right away or soon into his career? And, having done much of what he has accomplished in his career already yourself, are you still kind of amazed at what he's been able to put together at Georgia?
Well, I think to answer that honestly, I hired Kirby. He was really, really young. And he was a position coach, and did a great job as a position coach. And we elevated him to be the coordinator. And, I kind of knew that he had great leadership qualities, and that's why we made him a coordinator. When he was a coordinator, he did a great job of managing, that side of the ball. And I knew he'd be an outstanding head coach someday. But it's phenomenal what he's been able to accomplish at Georgia. I mean, to win as many games in a row and to win a couple championships and have another chance to, do it again a third time. I mean, it's phenomenal. I mean, it's phenomenal to win however many games. What is it, 29? I don't even know for sure, but how many games they've won in a row. And we won 19 games in a row here twice, and I know how hard that was. So that and it's hard to sustain, and so he's done a phenomenal job of recruiting and developing players in the program, and I think the result bears that out.
Thank you.
Next is Mark Weiser of the Athens Banner-Herald.
Nick, I read where you said the games that haunt you the most are the lost championship games. Is that the case with the last time you played Georgia in Indianapolis, and if so, what in particular?
Yeah, well, I mean, it was a great game, and I don't know, I think we were at 18-13 with, 10 or 11 minutes to go in the game, and, they just outplayed us, tremendously in the last, 10, 11 minutes of the game, and you always want to be able to finish. And, we lost on the last play of the game to Clemson way back when. I felt like I should have called timeout and didn't. And so there's always things that haunt you when you don't have success. And, they outplayed us the last 10, 11 minutes of the game. So, you always want your team to be able to finish.
Thank you.
Next is Chip Towers of the AJC.
Yeah, Nick, with a lot of Kirby, Nick talk again, but obviously Kirby has accomplished an awful lot at Georgia, but he hasn't been able to beat you or Alabama in this game in particular. I know you guys see each other in the off season. I know you to be a competitive guy. I mean, is there any away from the field, away from the arena, ragging about that? Is it a piece of motivation for you and your staff to kind of hold sway in this game?
Well, they beat us in the national championship game the last time we played, so I don't know that one game, is more important than the other. And, obviously, whoever plays the best in this game will have the best chance to win. And I don't know that, I have a lot of respect for Kirby, and, we don't jostle about winning and losing and dog each other about it. I think, I have respect for what he's been able to accomplish, and he did a great job for us when he was here, and I just appreciate him, a lot for the kind of person he is, the kind of coach he is, and the kind of job he's done.
Thanks.
Next is Tony Sakalas of Tide Illustrated.
Yeah, Coach, it looked like Auburn safety clapped to draw Seth McLaughlin into snapping the ball on the final drive. Did you see that? And what can you do to guard against a play like that in the future? You're going to have loud situations like that later on.
Well, first of all, the defense is not allowed to clap. If that's what you're using as a cadence. So, if what you say actually occurred, and I did see the film, then, I'm not criticizing the officiating, but I'm saying that's supposed to be a penalty.
Is there a thought to going towards maybe a silent count in that situation, or are you just kind of relying on the official to make the call there?
Well, look, we've gone to the silent count before, and that has its issues too. So, I don't look. You're not allowed to clap on defense. So if you're using clap as your cadence, why would you change your cadence so that somebody does something they're not supposed to do on the other side of the ball? It doesn't make any sense to me. So we went silent at Texas A&M. We had 9 false starts. So, it didn't work too well.
Thank you.
Next is Palmer Toms of Dogs HQ.
Yeah, Coach, another Kirby question for you. Just watching from afar, what would you say the area that he's grown the most in has been, and how have you seen him implement what y'all do, in Athens?
Well, I can't answer the second part of your question because I don't see what they do every day. I do see the product they have on the field, and, their players are well coached. They play with really good discipline. They're focused on doing their job. They do it the right way. So I assume that, all those things are, sort of coached into them, and the players are taught and go out and respect what they need to do to be able to create value and success for themselves. So, but I can't answer that because I'm not there on a day-to-day basis. I don't really know, how they do what they do, but I know the finished product is really, really good.
Next is AP Stedham of the AP and Kelly Show.
Coach, how does a talented tight end challenge a defense?
Well, I think that, first of all, tight ends are bigger people. And when they're very athletic and very good receivers, it's a little bit like basketball in a way. If you have a really talented big guy and he's athletic enough and you got to guard him with a smaller guy, that creates some advantages for the bigger guy. And if you cover him with a bigger guy and the bigger guy's not as athletic, that creates some problems too. So I think it's a mismatch issue that comes from having and then the guys are really good blockers. So if you have smaller guys guarding them, then you got a mismatch in the running game too.
Coach, and I want to ask you about Carson Beck. What have you seen from him this season that impresses you?
Well, I think he does a really, really good job of executing their offense. He doesn't make very many bad reads. He throws the ball in the right place. He's very accurate with the ball. He throws it on time. He understands their offense very, very well and, executes the play that's called and distributes the ball correctly, almost flawlessly.
Thank you.
Coach, it looks like that's going to wrap you up. Thank you for your time today and look forward to a great week.
All right.